Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning. Welcome to the commission meeting this morning. Everybody's in the boardroom. We appreciate that. We will have a public comment for anything that's on the agenda. At the beginning of the meeting and at the end, we'll have another public comment when we can adjust the board. I'm going to call the meeting to order this morning. We're going to have prayer by Commissioner Barnwell, pledge of allegiance by Commissioner Lutz, then we'll have a roll call by Madam Clerk. Everyone's good. Prayer.
Heavenly Father, as we come to you this morning, we once again want to thank you for the blessings of a renewed mercy and grace that's in your word. It's given to us each day. We appreciate that. We come together also to thank you for the many blessings you've given us as a nation. And we pray for righteousness and decisions. We thank you for the peace and the freedoms that we have. And we thank you, Lord, for our employees and state and county, that you might bless them with what they stand in need of. And for those in our hearts and minds that are poor of spirit now or have physical ailments, we pray that you might heal them with what they stand in need of. Pray also, Lord, that you're with the families of those who have lost loved ones and protecting our country, who are assigned, and there are many in our county who have lost loved ones. We just ask you to be with them, give them grace and peace as well. We also once again pray that you bless our meeting and the commissioners, that we make decisions that are right in the eyes and benefit those who elected us. And that we, all that we do to this day, that brings you honor and glory. And if we fail in any way, we ask that you forgive our sins, omissions, commissions, deeds, through the precious blood of your Son that was shed on the cross. We ask all these blessings in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for that. We'll continue. We'll have a roll call, please.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Commissioner Barrios. Here. Commissioner Bardwell.
Here.
Commissioner Vaughn.
Here.
Commissioner Lutz.
Here.
Commissioner Cook.
Here.
You have a quorum. You may proceed.
Thank you. Adoption of the agenda. Do I have anything I want to add to the agenda? Or do you want to adopt the agenda as written?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to move to adopt the agenda as presented.
Support.
It's been moved by Commissioner Lutz, supported by Commissioner Barrios, to adopt the agenda as presented. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is passed. Action on previous meeting minutes.
Chair, I move to adopt the meeting minutes from the May 28, 2026 regular meeting.
Support.
Been moved by Commissioner Lutz, supported by Commissioner Barrios, to move to adopt the meeting minutes from May 28, 2026 regular meeting. Any more discussion? Here, none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is passed. Brief public comment period. Anybody want to address the board this morning on a brief public comment before we get started to the meeting? It's on the agenda items only this morning. Anybody would like to address the board this morning, brief public comment on the agenda items? Seeing none, hearing none, let the record show that public comment was offered and they had no participants. Move on to the consent agenda. We have no consent agenda this morning. So we're ready to the new business. The first thing on new business is citizens for starting to call Mr. Billy Pup.
I just told my wife I was nervous. I've never spoken before. Good morning, guys. Things are going quite well. My daughter started a PAC, Citizens for a Stronger Tuscola, and we're advocating for the yes vote for August 4th. They've culminated a bunch of questions that we would like to present to you guys to, God willing, have answered either today or very close future meetings. And if it's all right, I'd like to go through that with you guys, and probably Mr. Vaughn, you could point lead on some of these questions because they range from different board members. Now, some of these I already know, you already know, but I think the public wants to be reiterated and confirmed from your guys' voices, from your mouth to their ears, how this is going to be structured and work. So without further ado, let's just jump right on there. What responsibilities would the road commissioners have?
Responsibilities that the road commissioners have, and again, they basically have the same responsibility they have now, day-to-day operations of the road commission.
Exactly what everybody thinks. How would appointed road commissioners board? How would appointed road commission board members be selected?
Does anybody, I will open this up to the whole board too, though. If anybody on this board can answer these questions or whatever. We talked about this at the last meeting, and we would like to see it done again. It's going to take township supervisors to help in this situation. I'd like to see it selected through the districts and brought to this board for appointment. Okay, the township supervisor, not supervisors. I want to do that. I mean, I want to do that. That's why the way that we discussed it. We'd like to see it happen.
So township district appointments, basically, then you guys approve it. Great.
Feel free to anybody else who wants to jump in.
Do you feel that accountability and transparency would approve under this new structure?
I feel that it would improve a lot. And why I say that it would improve a lot is because, again, they're selected right by their districts and they're selected right by the township supervisors. It's easier to recall. It's easier to hold them their feet to fire because of that. And I think that you'd get them to go to township meetings and stuff. If they're selected right from the township supervisor, I think that they would go to township meetings and really understand what the townships need. And everybody in that township, every individual in that township, just 1, 2, 3, or 4, would have a voice because they can go to their supervisors, they can go to people that put them where they're at and have a voice.
Great. And that leads into another question, and we could just jump right into that. That's the biggest concern that I've seen so far, is how to get rid of an appointed position versus an elected position. From an elected standpoint, I know that one very clear. Since our commissioners are county-wide elected, you have to go through Lansing. You have to get 25% of the signatures required after a presidential election, which is around 5,400 signatures per person, which is quite a few. But how would an appointed commissioner be recalled?
And that's something, again, that we can work on. The way it is right now, if you're just appointed, if the board commissioners appoints a person, okay? And there's a bunch of complaints about that appointee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the county board can set up a hearing to bring the person down for a hearing, to listen to his sides, listen to all sides. That's why we usually work down on to the appointed person. They have to have a hearing from this board. Okay. Again, we talked about this again to last meeting. I would like to see to work it the same way as if they're elected through the districts, where it would take 500 signatures, and it would take a majority of the supervisors to get them to this board. And then that's, again, that's the way I would like to see it happen.
And you guys are allowed to structure that under resolutions? Great. Would the taxpayer see any increases in taxes or cost? No. Do you feel financial oversight would improve under an appointed board?
Yes.
Well, they would come to this board finally.
I don't know when the last time, you guys would have to tell me the last time anybody from the road commission came here and talked to you guys.
Yeah.
Do you guys have on your schedule yet? How soon would a new appointed board be established? Did you have a time frame put together yet for that?
No, I really don't. It would be, as quick as we can get it put together, but,
Yeah.
Hopefully it would,
And like I said, I hate to put this to you guys, but my family's point of view and how my career works and how we like to get stuff done. And I know you guys I'm not complaining at all, but I want to hit the ground running because I know this is going to be very successful. And I don't want to leave the community on a hinge. So I would say we could probably get this done in 30 to 60 days. Structure wise,
I would like to see it within 30 days.
Okay. So can you explain also the terms? Because I know it's mandated that they have a 6-year term. Would that structure change at all?
And that's something that I'm still trying to research to just all evidence to see if that's mandatory. So far, I find that I think that is mandatory. I know at the beginning you can stagger, at the beginning for everybody's term don't come up on the same date. But I'm still looking into that. As far as right now, I'm finding that I think that is mandatory on a road commission board, no matter if they're appointed or elected.
So you could create a resolution or a stagger, correctly? Okay, so we could create a lot of resolutions to structure an adopted board or appointed board, I'm sorry, versus an elected board. So we could have a great recall process. We could have accountability process, and so on and so forth. So you guys are kind of creating a small constitution for the road commission. Correct? Awesome. Last question, because you've covered it a lot. What message would the commissioners like the public to understand before voting on August 4th?
Anything from the board? My biggest thing is, is don't give up your vote. That's the fight back. Don't give up your vote. And I'm all for people not giving up their vote. It's a constitutional right to vote. But in the structure that we are right now, unless you live right here in this town or around this town, your vote really doesn't matter. In my opinion, I've been here on this board since 2017, and I've never seen the incumbent road commission be voted off yet. Because I think it's impossible. Because they're the most populated areas, and it's good old boys network. And I think, unless you live right here, it's almost impossible. There has been some changes to that board, and the changes have come from this board. We had a pass away, we had a resignation. When stuff like that happens, it comes from this board. We did diversify it a little bit, but that's my question to people say, oh, I don't want to give a vote. Well, I don't think you're not going to vote by now if they're running.
Mm-hmm.
You're just not going to do it because the popularity will over and where they're located at. Well, and I get my opinion on that.
Yeah, from what I've been, everybody's very interested in an appointed board, but they want to make sure there's a recall process. It's like everybody's biggest thing is to make sure that they have an ability to keep whoever the new people are, their coals to the fire and keep them accountable and closer to people. A lot of people that I've been speaking with don't feel that the current structure. I kind of do a polling. First of all, do you even know one or two of the board members' names? They don't even know. They thought that we're trying to get rid of the road commission. That's not the case. We need to keep the road commission. The road commission workers and employees are doing a fantastic job. It's the board that I think has been very lackadaisical and unaccountable to the people. And that's why I'm here.
And I get a lot of questions like, well, what kind of retirement are they going to have? None of that's changing. I mean, they're all worried about that.
Yeah.
Are they going to have this kind of retirement? Are they going to do defined benefit? Are they going to do? You're going off base. None of that has anything to do with this.
This is strictly to do with the 5 board members.
Yeah, these are two different subjects. altogether, you know, and I try to get through these people. Boom, next day, I'm getting that same question again, you know, and so, yeah, it's very personal that none of that has anything to do with it. But the day-to-day operations has nothing to do with it. It brings back the way it used to be, you know, when the road commissions were first set up in Michigan, they were on the board under the board of commissioners. And the board of commissioners were the executive board to that board. Okay. And as you go through, they allowed them to be elected positions. They passed out things where they could be. Well, some of the counties went in that direction. And so did Tuscola County in 2010. We went that same direction. And I think shortly after we went in that direction, you realize that, okay, what I'm saying is, okay, we got the road commission, 5 of them all live within 10 miles of each other because they're elected population, most populated area of the town. So I think right down there, that probably worked the way we figured it because of that, what was happening. And so, and a lot of counties are thinking we're going to do. That's why they're reversing course. That's why we're not the first county here to do this down the last 2 or 3 years.
I think there's
3 or
43.
4. Yeah, 3 or 4 other ones have done it also.
Yeah. But total, there's 43 out of the 83 counties that are appointed now.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's why these other counties in the last 2 or 3 years, like Howard and Iowa, I think it was one. I know there's about 3 or 4 that has done just what we're doing because they found out the same thing. They found out they have basically there's no oversight. And so yeah, we're not the first one to do this, but we want to get to understand people that nothing's going to change on the board. Is going to do the board. The board will do the day-to-day operations. This board has always been the last board of resources. Everybody has issues with county, and we need to bring it back to the board. This board still can be the last resource, you know, if there's an issue.
So is it safe to say you guys work on a resolution, and would you have it like a small sample constitution on the structure of an appointed member before or after the 4th?
That's all. That's all. We have to be talking with legal and stuff, how to do all that. But yeah, when I did talk about this whole process before that, that was kind of an indication was after you could put a resolution together and whatever. But all the rest of that stuff we were talking about would have to.
Yeah. So just from a layperson, civilian, reporting back to you guys, what everybody that I've been talked to would like to see is more township involvement in the process, the appointment process, more civilian ability to recall. That's big. So that there's like a 3. They just don't want this board to turn into future good old boys, and then they get their future good old boys in. And I don't want that either. So if we make the right resolutions with the right checks and balances, the public can keep everybody's coals in the fire. So that's what everybody's looking for, is a good accountability and a checks and balances, not only for the future people that take your seats, but their future people that they will be appointed to. So,
yeah.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, go ahead.
The other 43 things that do appointed, is there any way we could do like each of us, our district had a road commission through the townships? I mean, so the people that say we're going to lose our vote, well, you're not, because if somebody from my district was on the road commission, they're voting for me, and the township supervisors would appoint a certain person. Is that a possibility?
That's what we're talking about. Trying to
Each district?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, because one of the things I get a lot of questions, you know, everybody on that board is experienced, and why are we going to take away the experienced board and go with people that aren't experienced? And I think about that, and I said, you know, anybody can run for it. I can run for county clerk. Do I know anybody to clerk?
I don't think you'd be a good one.
No. You know what I'm saying? No. I
I'll third that.
I can run for road commission.
It's an election
You'll
year.
not get my.
Join in.
But no, so, you know, so I take that as, wait a minute. If somebody puts this application, which we did, we all sat there when the people resigned and passed away, we had these applications. And you look at these applications, this guy might have worked for a whaling contractor for 25 years on the road. You know, we took through the application process. That's where you're finding people that are really experienced in what that job should be.
Mhm.
You know, and I'm not saying people out there aren't, I don't know all of that. But the ones that we appointed, they were pretty well adversed, you know, so there's
So God willing, you might get more than one application for, say, Mr. Cook's district.
oh,
You guys would then weed through the applications and say, hey,
well, the
great.
supervisors, I think, would weed through the applications. They would send us who they would recommend. And, that's why I like to see that keeps the supervisors, I'm on, basically on top of it. And, you know, and when I first got elected, and I went around to all the townships, and I used to do it religiously, that was the biggest thing for me, was the road commission. How do we get accountability? How do we get, what they talk to? How do we get, you know, just communication from all of them? And even some of them that are still, giving me a grief on a few things I put out there. I'm saying to myself, wait a minute. He was one of the people that came to me and wanted to change the structure. If we could do it any other way, we would talk about doing it another way. But there is no other way to do it except the way this board has done it. You know what I'm saying? If we could keep the ones that we could change something else and accomplish our goals, I'd be happy. But there's just no other way.
Yeah.
You know.
And I want to make it very clear because I'm sure everybody will hear about it this weekend. Tomorrow we're having an open forum at Township Hall at the Brentwood there. Get a lot of interest for people who want to hear these answers, these questions. We've created a PowerPoint to help explain the process, what you guys are seeing, what resolutions you guys are creating, so on and so forth. But I just those are all of my questions. That's the biggest question is accountability and transparency for our future and our vote. So thank you for answering all those questions.
Chairman,
Yes.
may I say something?
Sure.
I want to segue up from the chairman. And this was your last question. Want to read it back?
I don't even know what today is.
Don't remember your last question?
Yeah, I don't.
Well, I think I do, and I just want to just give a little my thoughts on it in the sense that Billy, it has gotten to a point. I mean, in 2010, we thought we did the right decision. All right, that was the board. And somewhere between 2010 and today, we've had a drifting away. We thought we had a very collegial working relationship with the road commission. We've had them in here over the years on finances, and they're holding up our current end of the year right now on the which is problematic. But this debate on separation and who has what power came to a head. I mean, you really, of all the narratives that we're talking about all the questions you're answering in the background, were really moot, because this board has appointed for years and various boards and never been too concerned about partiality or favoritism or that type of thing. The fact that this happened on Hurd's Corner Road and involved your family has nothing to do with it, but 6 intersections has a lot to do with it. 6 intersections. And you went to the public hearings. It was blatant. A wall was put up that there would be nothing, and there was no public response. The road commission should be responsive to these types of things, whether it be a sign. And we had two offers, the county and township, to buy the flashing lights. Everybody else has them. Aaron has rumble strips. You can't miss them. And yet it was rejected for public safety. Now, in the minds of most people who would be voting, that should be what's most important, because it wasn't their family that got injured, but the closer to home, it really comes to realization. And I know that your family is doing well with all the things that's happened.
Relative speaking, but I get what you're saying.
Try to, what can you say?
No, I mean, that's what I think you were answering my next question. Is people are really asking me, like, why are you doing this? Well, I do have a bias in safety. And we, as a family, went to them in November and December and got just basically kicked in the teeth for no reason other than I have to do a study, which I FOIA, don't know when, how, or if it started. It's a giant guess. I did FOIA and I got it back yesterday, and I'd like to share this little tidbit for you because I think it's astounding. But I FOIA'd all the intersections. So from September to May, because that's when my FOIA went out, 8 months, how many 911 calls were at those intersections? Hurd's Corner in Deckerville had 24. Bevins and Hertz Corner had 13, and Hertz Corner and 46 had 24. Irish and 15, I think, had like 18. Birch Run and 15 had 24, and Vassar and Fairville Road had 2. Just doing the math because it's close to home, Hertz Corner from Deckerville all the way to 46 had 61 911 calls in a 8-month period. So every 3.93 days, there's an accident or a 911 call in these corners. That is your study in itself. When I've talked to Huron County, when I've talked to Sanilac County, to do a study is just a policy thing. It's not a requirement by the state. MDOT doesn't need it. You have jurisdiction over your own county. You can do what you want with your roads unless it affects an MDOT road. These are not 100% MDOT roads. Enough is enough. I'm really, I know you prayed for grace, and God bless you. My grace is running thin because this isn't something I think people should. This board, not this board, but the road commission board, I don't understand. There's just crickets coming from them, and it's not only myself that's asking these questions, but numerous people are asking the same questions. Why not improve the safety on those things? And then when they, God bless you guys, I know Nancy went, but when you guys offered them the EDC extended, the EDC went to them and they said, no, they're going to do it on their own. That's just foolish waste of money. And they could have went out to the townships and asked for their $1,100 for the 3 years. I mean, if every township contributed $1,100, I presented that to you guys, but there's been no communication to the townships on what you guys want. I've been visiting a few townships already so far, and they would like a little bit more say in life. They also have plans for how to plow. I mean, we're getting in. My big thing right now is safety, but other individuals are like, I would just like to see our township plowed more efficiently. These are the roads that we use. A lot of people are just guessing. I've never even seen a plow plan. And that's what a lot of our residents are concerned about. It's not just safety, but the structure and the attitude. There's still roads that are not cut back that could be taken care of. Biggest complaint with township is the lack of response. How many times emails have gone out and gone unanswered for 20, 30, 60, 90, 120 days for simple stuff.
And that's where I said, well, I forgot, like, these were the complaints that were coming to me, want to get it changed. This is the only way, people.
Yeah.
And, I'm taking all this, and from some of the people that were telling me, we need change, they're giving me a hard time. This is the only way. There's no other way to do it. If you want the transparency, if you want to have the voice, if you want to be involved with the road commission, this is the only way to do it. You can't do it any other way.
Yeah, and that's the how I've been answering questions too. People are like, can you recall? Yes, we can recall. To recall, we can only recall 4 of the 5. And Jody's educating me on recalling processes now and seem to be an expert, but don't want to be. But we have to go through Lansing. We can't do it through our county. And just recalling one individual would cost about $45,000 to $50,000. I don't have the funds to do it 4 times. I'm sure the recall would be successful, but then they just up for re-election, and then it just more process through the election committee. This is the best way to restructure, I think, accountability. I've been praying about it. I've been talking about it, doing the research. I called other counties, other boards, and when they've gone to an appointed one, it cut out a lot of the red tape, and it put the responsibility closer to the people. People feel like they actually have a voice now because Mr. Appointed or Mrs. Appointed actually lives in their township or lives in their district, and they see them in the grocery stores. They see them uptown and say, hey, could you do something about this? Could you do something about that? And like Mr. Bard was saying, since 2010, our current board, a lot of them are still on there since 2010, have drifted away from accountability and transparency and have now dug in their heels on a stance that they are the say-all be-all. And so when that attitude approached me and my family, I said, I'm not going to let it stand by no more. And so that's unfortunately why we're here today. So I appreciate your guys' response to the questions. We're going to type those up and let the community know that you guys first and foremost want a appointed board that has accountability and transparency to the people. And that's the structure you guys are striving for, and not the good old boy system that I've heard. So is that safe to say?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So that's all the questions I have. So I appreciate it.
Anybody got anything else they want to add for? Bill, appreciate you coming in.
I just have one
Go
question.
ahead.
We got a lot of stop sign posts going in. Is this the larger sign is going in everywhere? Do you know anything about that?
No, so it's not. So after reviewing since that accident on Easter,
Mhm.
they came out with their plan. I dived into it a little bit more. The 2/3 to 3/4 of the plan, there is going to be I'm not on commission, but I don't know why I'm explaining it to you guys. There is a restructuring of 46 with MDOT, from what I've been told. And so they need to shut down a portion of 46 for sure in this area. And we should let the community know, especially in Bevins, they're rerouting traffic up 24 down Bevins, and they will be changing Bevins and Hertz Corner into a 4-way stop temporarily. These increase in signs were in some of these intersections a requirement for MDOT because of the road work they're going to be going through. I think it's just happenstance just to keep the peace and to try to save their jobs, because I'm pretty blunt. I'll tell it how it is. They added Hertz Corner and Deckerville and put a bigger sign in it, road stop on the road, which I don't know how that's working very much, because we still have accidents. And then, so a majority of it was requirements for all the work that's being done for the community. And it just was a coincidence, I think, to how they present it. One of the things that really bugs me, and I'm just going to bring this up so we can, if people want to hear about it tomorrow, because I have things from safety, financial, and just procedural things that we've found doing FOIAs and talking to the community and some background checks, was during that meeting, August or April 7th, they approved and let ABC 12 News that they were going to do all those improvements, bigger signs, right stop on the road improvements. The engineer and Julie did very well and let everybody know the first hour of the meeting. 2 days later is when they officially voted on it. So are they having meetings? I mean, I'm pretty sure with the Freedom of Information Act and all that public, I don't know, I'm not an expert in that realm, but do those commissioners get together and have a special agenda and then just decide and then present it to save their skin in front of the community? Because April 7th is when the meeting was, but the accident was 2 days before that. So let's make it look good. I'm tired of the look good politics. And that's what I feel that this board is doing, and what they're hiding behind. And so, yes, I'm going to make it very clear. I do have a bias, and I'm going to see this through to the end. But I also want to make sure that we're doing it right, and that the people get the right representation in this interim predicament. So I hope that answers your question.
It did
Okay.
sufficiently.
I can't speak on their finances. I haven't dove that much into them yet, but I will if you want me to. Yeah, I'm kidding.
All right,
Thanks,
you.
Billy.
Thanks.
All right, move on number 2. Under new business, Michigan Municipal Risk Management Authority, MMRMA. That abstract. Ignore it.
Yes, Myrna reached out to me by email to notify us that we will be receiving a net asset check of approximately $91,312. But if you look at the attachment under from yesterday or the 8th, member funds on deposit, deficit calculation sheet. Right now, potentially the county has in their $344,000 of liabilities sitting out there. Under the policy, we're supposed to have on reserves, we're supposed to have 50% of that. Currently, we do not. We only have 108,000. So we're short about 64,000 now. Myrna said that of the 91,000, they would keep the 64 automatically and send us the rest, or we could just deposit the whole thing into that account to help shore it up. And that is my recommendation, that we just take the $91,000 and just deposit it into that account to help shore up that balance.
Any questions for Mike on this?
This motion is
To take
what
that.
you're suggesting.
Yeah.
It is.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve per the recommendation of the Michigan Municipal Risk Management Authority to roll the total net asset distribution of $91,312 into the county retention fund. This will help to strengthen the county's required fund balance and authorize all necessary signatures.
Support.
So moved by Commissioner Cook, supported by Commissioner Barros, to move to approve per the recommendation of the Michigan Municipal Risk Management Authority to roll the total net asset distribution of $91,312 into the county retention fund. This will help to strengthen the county's required fund balance and authorize all necessary signatures. Any more discussion?
Just a question I'm thinking about, Mike, is this, year to year, is this pretty typical activity? Did you go back and look or is this an anomaly?
I can only speak on the time that I've been in this seat, and we did send them money last month to help bring it back up to 50%. So we're having to do it again. So it does seem to be as Myrma takes on more obligations from us for vehicles being damaged, lawsuits, that sort of thing. We have to, that's the total. If everything were to come due, the county would have to pay the $344,000, but they only require us to keep 50%.
Right.
So it just really based on what our claims are to Myrma, what that fund goes up or down to. So it could go up or it could go down based on the claims.
So it's rolling based on claim.
Yes.
All right. No further questions, Chairman.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is passed. Move on to number 3 under new business, solar farm case, Mr. Don Wellington.
Chairman Vaughn, Commissioners, thank you. Privileged to be here this morning. A few years ago, when I was on the Planning Commission, appointed to the Planning Commission, I used to sit right over there next to Rick Broylan, and Lonnie Kester was the chair. Kim, Mr. Chairman, you were the liaison there, so you remembered that. A lot of what we did was look at township solar ordinances at the time. We reviewed them. Different townships took different approaches, and I'm just giving this as way of background to this solar case, and this continues on with the theme of safety that Mr. Putnam's been talking about. But we saw a lot of townships with solar ordinances. Some might have argued they were overly restrictive. My issue always was, hey, if you've got one of these solar farms coming in, and we're talking industrial solar, we're not talking about, hey, I'm putting solar on the roof of my house so that I can cut my electric bill. This project we're going to discuss in a moment here with Arbela Township would cover 3 square miles of Arbela Township. So my concern then was the environment, was the decommissioning. What do we do with these solar farms in 30 years when they're no longer any good? Who's going to take care of that? And I always wanted to make sure there was at least some decommissioning plan in place. Well, it turned out that because the solar companies were getting so much pushback from townships in Michigan, that the legislature decided to pass Public Act 233 to say, hey, if you're a township and you're going to be restrictive on solar, we're just going to let these companies go straight to the Michigan Public Service Commission in Lansing, bypass any local concern. And so that law was passed. Under that law, and this is a very important definition, affected local units have a say in what happens with solar in their community. If a township wants to do the review process, they have to follow state rules. And if they don't choose to do that, this can all go to the Michigan Public Service Commission. importantly, the statute said it's not just the township where the solar project is going to be located, it's the county in which it's located is also an affected local unit. So if a solar company goes to the Michigan Public Service Commission, the county by law is supposed to receive upon application, and this application in this case for Birch Valley was submitted April 10th. Upon application, the county is supposed to receive $75,000 to put in a fund so that they can pay the legal fees to intervene in these cases. Well, to my knowledge, and when I found out about all this, I didn't know about this case until 2 weeks ago. And I wouldn't have because except I saw somebody on Facebook complaining that the rights were being taken away in our Beulah Township. So I looked into this, and you know, the way I was raised, when you look out the window and you see a bully beating up another kid, you step in, and that's what's happening here. This county did not receive its $75,000, as far as I know, on April 10th when this application was filed. There was also supposed to have been a notice to Clerk Fetting prior to this application being filed. There should have been a public meeting here in Cairo. Chairman Vaughn, they were obligated under the law to reach out to you and have a meeting. As far as I know, none of that ever happened here. So the law is violated, and we're sort of sitting in a situation where we're going to potentially get 3 square miles of Chinese solar cells in a beautiful, pristine part of our county. I've got a map. I don't need to show you all that. You know what the county looks like. But so what I did is, first of all, no one had even intervened on behalf of the township. So I started looking at this. Well, how in the heck can I at least intervene so this is a fair fight? So I worked and got this ready, talked to people in our Beulah Township, decided I should intervene just on my own behalf as a Millington Township resident. We share fire services through our volunteer Millington, our Beulah Fire Department, with our Beulah Township. Our township pays 60% of the bill. And so for this solar farm, I mean, heck, I had a grass fire in my yard 3 months ago. That just happens. So with the solar farm, Millington Township would pay 60% of the fire protection. And we only have a volunteer fire department. For 3 square miles of solar cells, our volunteer fire department is going to have to cover that. Millington Township gets no funds from this. The county is supposed to receive, in this case, $300,000. You haven't even received $75,000 yet. The idea that they're going to give you the other $300,000 is ridiculous. It's like, well, we don't have the check for you today. This is outrageous. And so I filed. Thank God our Beulah Township, actually, their attorneys did file the day before the deadline. I didn't know if they were going to file, so I filed on Monday, the last day of the deadline. And so you'll see my petition there, filing on behalf of myself personally. But my interest is that of the 50,000 people in Tuscola County that have had no voice in any of this. To my surprise, on Friday afternoon of last week, the solar company made an argument at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday, in advance of a 10 a.m. I've had to get up early for the last week, a 10 a.m. Hearing on Monday morning, right? That's not even a full business day. And they filed this petition or this objection. And they said, look, our Beulah Township, the affected local unit, has moved interveners right. They hadn't been allowed, they hadn't been approved as an intervener yet. The law firm that's involved here that represents the solar company unethically said the affected local unit. Wrong. There's two affected local units, Arbela Township, certainly, and Tuscola County. Ethically, they're required to at least point out to a judge what the law is. And this Court of Appeals case says clearly the county is an affected local unit. I mean, that's just logic. Whatever happens in Arbela Township with roads, for example, Birch Run Road, and Mr. Putman has pointed out, and Commissioner Lutz knows, that's the busiest road we have next to M15 in that part of the county. This solar farm, 3 square miles, is going to jam Birch Run Road up for Lord knows how long. Because the only all-weather primary road in that part of the county is Birch Run Road. How are we supposed to get back and forth to I-75 when all this stuff's going? The county, the people, have an interest in this case. So I read this objection, and I would just ask you to note that this objection, the last page of it says, they go through and they say that my interests are represented adequately by Arbela Township. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I'm a Millington Township resident. The attorneys for Arbela Township, their hair caught on fire. They said, we want to be clear, Your Honor, we do not represent Mr. Wellington. We do not represent Millington Township. We don't represent Tuscola County. We represent Arbela Township. I mean, this is just logic. What had happened was the law firm involved here cut and pasted from another case. They're representing solar companies in 5 different cases. So they say in their objection, attorneys for Headland Solar, well, that's not even the project here. This is Birch Valley. I mean, it's outrageous. It's a cut and paste job where in that case, the people of the township said, hey, even though we're not an adjoining landowner with a right to petition, this is our township. And so they said, oh, well, no, you're fine. Your township intervened. Now, we all even know that the township has a different interest than the residents. The residents are concerned about their property values going down. The residents are concerned about whether their roads get clogged up, right? So they cut and pasted that. I contacted, as a matter of professional courtesy, the attorney, and I said, you've misled the court. You've made this sound like I'm Arbela Township resident, and I'm not. Oh, no, we know. I said, it looks like you cut and pasted this. Oh, no, didn't cut and paste, which is a lie because they signed it, attorneys for Headland Solar, when this is Birch Valley. All right, so I figured, well, I gave them a chance. Monday morning comes, they're going to get embarrassed. Was I surprised on Monday morning? The administrative law judge in the case, they did allow Arbela Township to intervene, which they had a right to. Mr. Wellington, I'm ruling against you. I told them, you know, I'm here, and we've made it absolutely clear I wasn't representing the county, just my own individual interests. No, your rights are being adequately represented by Arbela Township. Well, Arbela Township hasn't received their $75,000. So the lawyer said, Your Honor, we may not even be in this case because we're not getting paid because Arbela Township doesn't have the money to pay us. They never got the check. So it's outrageous. I'm appealing that, and I'm a big boy. I will take care of it. The only thing I'd ask here is that we are able to get maybe an affidavit from Clerk Fetting that says we were never contacted about any public meeting, so nothing was held. Affidavit from you, Chairman Vaughn, that no one ever reached out to me for a meeting as required by law. That would help my intervention. It would certainly help the Arbela Township lawyers, because now they're trying to get this case dismissed because the law was violated. But the bigger reason I'm here this morning is they are having a hearing in a few weeks to argue about whether this is even legal to go forward. And I realize the county hasn't received a check yet, like it should have, but I urge you to engage counsel and get on this, because come July 5th, they're going to have a hearing that's going to determine all of our rights. This is like a hockey game. So I skate onto the ice and they immediately put me in the penalty box. My appeal is, it's going to take months. It goes up to the Public Service Commission above the ALJ, and they'll have to figure this out. I'm confident that I'll win, but then by that point, the hearing's been done. You all have rights as the Board of Commissioners on behalf of the 53,000 citizens of the county, including Arbela Township, but certainly the 50,000 who are going to be affected by this project. And I'd ask you to, get off the bench. You didn't know. I didn't know. I'm a lawyer. I'm the only lawyer in Millington, Arbela, and I didn't realize that this was going on until a few days before, and because of Facebook. The notice here didn't go out to any of us. It went out to affected landowners a few days before the hearing deadline. So with that, I'll answer any questions that you may have.
Mr. Chairman, do you know, did something go to the planning commission as opposed to coming directly to the county commissioners?
As far as I know, nothing went to you mean the Tuscola County Planning Commission. And I just to be clear on the record, I had the privilege of serving, and then I, decided not to continue to serve. It was a great experience, and the privilege working with Lonnie Kester was, the late Lonnie Kester was wonderful. No, not that I know of, and even if it had, that's legally insufficient. The statute clearly says that a notice has to go to Clerk Fetting, and that a request has to go to Commissioner Vaughn. It's clear. And if you read the case, you'll see that's clear. And the reason, it's so unjust. The Public Service Commission staff argued counties shouldn't have any rights here. So I show up on the call, and so that was what, they've lost on appeal. So I show up for the call, and the attorney for their staff, the attorney of record in this case, you'll see, is on the call. He's representing the commission. They're trying to argue, oh, well, he represents your interests. I said, he's the guy who says that the county has no rights here. I said, this is the first time I've laid eyes on Mr. Nicholas Taylor, but he certainly doesn't represent me. He tried to disenfranchise me and the county. So it's a bad system. I will take care of that part of things. I'll talk to my state representative, Deerline. So don't worry, I'm okay, but you guys need to know what's going on here and make sure that, the law is followed. And I just don't understand how, Tuscola County was a party to this case. You'll see the name Tuscola County. Elmer Township is the first township that's listed here. Like what? Now, some may say, like, why didn't the lawyers tell us? The lawyers who did this case are busy on 4 of these other cases, just fighting this stuff. All right. Yep. Could have done a better job probably and letting you guys know, but they're probably not looking to enlist any more clients right now. Right. But again, I'd urge you to reach out to your council, I'd be happy to talk to your council along with you and just let them know, hey, this is what's happened to me so far. I'm in the penalty box while I'm on appeal. This will get overturned. This is a ridiculous, my 26-year-old daughter, I let her read the objection, said, Dad, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. She's not a lawyer. I try to tell them, don't be a lawyer. Don't do that. But anybody who reads that said, well, that's stupid. And it was a cut and paste. But what the travesty here is that the judge, the administrative law judge, who's an employee of the commission, the Michigan Public Service Commission, bought into this. So any other questions?
Sure.
Don, when we first got started at this, I went to the classes, they held at the townships, and they said, well, just all have to do with the townships, don't have anything to do with the county. That's what they fed us.
Yeah. Yep.
So we all thought, okay, it's gonna have to be, we're gonna just take it away from the locals again, and the county don't have anything to do with it. Now all of a sudden they're changing the rules of the game.
Well, because we actually won. I mean, Tuscola County, as a member of that lawsuit, won. You won. You won the right to notice a meeting with the commissioner, $75,000 on filing the application, and you're supposed to get $2,000 for every megawatt of power, and there's 150 megawatts. The math is $300,000. That's a drop in the bucket. We're privileged to have the sheriff here. The training it's going to take, the law enforcement in Arbela Township, like Millington Township, we each contract with the sheriff for 40 hours a week of work. Well, what happens? There's 120 or more hours in a week. So what happens if something gets damaged in these solar cells? Because these things are filled with, again, I'm not anti-solar. I mean, I think solar is wonderful in the desert Southwest. I think it's great. That's where the sun shines. What I'm anti-solar about is when you put something with lead and cadmium and other things, even if it doesn't get damaged, I'm worried about having that near wetlands, which is what's happening here, next to drains that go into creeks, go in the Cass River, which is what happens here. Yesterday, Commissioner Barrios, there was a tornado warning up in Akron Fairgrove. In less than 20 years, we've had 2 tornadoes that have blown down Birch Run Road and Barnes Road in Millington. One took out my neighbor's house. One took out my sister's house. I'm not a meteorologist, but good Lord, like that's Tornado Alley here. Like 2 tornadoes in less than 20 years damaging homes, and that goes right through the solar project. What happens when that happens with rain and all this stuff washes into not just the groundwater, but the drains, the creeks, and the rivers? And the big problem with this decision, in my case, is now at Frankenmuth Township, which is just downriver, Tuscola Township, which is between this project and the Cass River, they're going to have no right to intervene because Arbela Township is representing their interests as well, I guess. It's outrageous. In 35 years almost of practicing law, I've never seen a decision like this. It makes me wonder, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, I mean, the fix is in here. What in the world is going on in Lansing with the Public Service Commission? And there's rules set up. Just follow the rules. If they follow the rules, you all would have known about this 2 months ago. You'd have said, where's the money so that we can hire a lawyer to intervene? They're not playing by the rules. Their lawyers are unethical. And, this is the result. But their plan, they're supposed to come up with a plan for emergency response, fire. Here was their plan. They met with Sheriff Robinson, and they met with the chief of our volunteer fire department. Volunteer. I live closer to this project than the fire station, which is in Millington. Like, Their plan, and so their plan is call 911. That's it. That's the plan they came up with for a 3 square mile solar farm. That's like a factory, like in Flint, like, and so then that's the question, why? And they're also supposed to say why they didn't go and find a brownfield or an industrial area. Nothing. Well, this one was better. It's closer to transmission to Saginaw and Flint. We know what's closer to Saginaw and Flint and their residents. Big open areas of industrial, nothing now. In Saginaw and Flint, like that's seems to me where you would first start looking for a place to put a big solar farm, as opposed to an actual farmland next to essentially the Cass River. It's outrageous. I've not seen this in my legal career, and I've seen a lot of bad things. If you
I have a question.
Google, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to get in line. Mr. Wellington, I think the answer to this is right before me, and I'll just remind everybody on June 1st, the governor was caught on a hot mic with the Oracle CEO, basically saying, we are used to people saying the F word no and doing it anyway. That's the top. So you wonder what's going on in UPC? All right. This is reeks of intentional.
Mhm.
And once you get the camel's nose in the tent, you have one experience. You're probably, the township's probably not the only one that's going to be experiencing this. Jumping to the end, I know you're going to file, and it takes forever. As you said, it goes to the top, UPC, whatever. And this hearing's coming up. What are the decisions that could come out of this hearing?
The decision that will come out of the hearing is whether this case can go forward, because the county was not notified and the county was not given an opportunity. So right
That's your case. But the
no,
case-
that's the rest
the
of
one
the
that's
case too,
coming
because
right
what Arbela Township is saying is, hey, this case is deficient because you didn't follow the law and also contact the county. And so that's why my ask here is that we can get the affidavits and say they didn't contact,
Correct.
They didn't ask for a meeting. There was certainly no public meeting held in Carroll. What these jokers might say is, oh, well, because there was a meeting in Arbela Township, that's inside Tuscola County, but doesn't matter. They lose or should have because they didn't provide the notice to Clerk Fetting. They didn't reach out to Commissioner Vaughn and request a meeting. So they should lose. But my intervention, which should have been the simplest thing in the world, like there's nobody else here in this case intervening for any resident of the county outside of Arbela Township. But I'm not confident that the judge will handle this the right way.
So this is the hearing that's coming up shortly.
Yeah.
All right, so the decision can't be made to go forward. This is just an argument on still in the
Well,
process.
they've set this is a very good question. They've set their agenda for the year. They've already, and this is why, I mean, the county is now disadvantaged. They've already set testimony and cross-exam for the end of October, beginning of November. What if the county's lawyers, when they get on board, what if they can't show up those days? Especially, I know with the Foster Swift, I mean, they're in all these cases almost as the defense. They're not in the case of Arbela Township, but you're already disadvantaged because when you get in the game, you're going to have to live by somebody else's calendar. It's imperative that the county do something before this hearing coming up July 4th, where the basis of the hearing is this is a deficient application because the county was never notified. The county certainly wasn't given the $75,000. And I'm concerned that, the judge didn't seem to care about that. The only ones who care about it right now is Arbela Township. And that's why, they're looking for a technicality to, get this case dismissed, where the ability to do it rests with Tuscola County.
Plus, their attorneys are not gonna get paid because they don't have the money anyway. I mean, there's a lot of
Yep.
contingencies to
So
this.
you see what the strategy is, you starve the townships of funds to pay the attorneys so that there's no voice. That's corruption. That's government that doesn't work. That's wrong.
So from this board standpoint, an affidavit from the clerk, the chair, and engagement of legal counsel, how would, there's not a lot of time apparently.
No,
So
No.
how, you know how legal counsels work. They're a little slow at times. It's sort of at the end of the road to get involved and to be caught up. Of course, every legal counsel I know, they want the full story. They're gonna do. Are you prepared to provide that?
I mean, on my own behalf,
On your own behalf? I
yes,
mean,
yeah,
you
oh,
seem to be-
absolutely.
And you're an attorney, you're knowledgeable, you know exactly what's going on. And it's much better to have colleagues explain what's going on from a legal sense if you're gonna
Exactly.
cut the chase.
Yeah.
So really it's the board's decision, and this is just probably, I'll call this a test case, but it's probably not. We're probably just discovering it's gonna be used elsewhere. to
If I
start
may,
anything.
what's happened down in Hillsdale County, the Heartwood projects. I believe it's the same company, and maybe there's two different solar companies. One's Ranger Power, that's folks in this case. They do a terrible job, in my opinion, of putting applications together. This got voted down by Arbela Township. 5-0. So down in Hillsdale County, they had already gotten one solar farm approved, which just went operational. They were trying to get the second one approved, and these are all about the same sizes, about 3 square miles. You need to do 150 megawatt project or 200 megawatt project. Number 2 came up, the township there said, look, you're already covering half, 4% of our township.
We'll recall the Board of the Commission meeting this morning. We can set a recess to take care of some technical issues. We've got everything taken care of there, so, we have more discussion on the presentation from,
Chairman, I really think we need to move forward and get some legal assistance here.
I agree.
okay. Probably should reach out to somebody, I guess, people talk about these affidavits that we want to take, you know.
Well, if you like, I can reach out to, Jay the Citizen, maybe have her contact him and,
I think that's, because I know I would be able to explain it to them.
I just
be
have
able to
a
provide
question.
the lowdown, so to speak, versus us trying
And
to
get her opinion, and get her thoughts.
seems like time for the essence. Right.
Question,
Yeah,
Mr. Wellington, we know that law firms specialize in different areas and it's hard to find a law firm unless you're Foster's, large law firm. Is, Ron, do they do cases in solar and data? Are they?
I'm not familiar. I'm just familiar with the two big firms that do.
Oh,
I
the
know
two
in
firms.
other townships, they've just sort of sometimes just hired their regular counsel to try to figure this out. That's why I'd be happy to talk to your counsel. It
I was
takes
just curious.
a little while to figure out how to get just logistically onto the system for the Public Service Commission and all that. That took me a day to, figure out how to do, that. So it's unlike where like me who, represents private clients primarily on a pro bono basis and we do documents, things. We're a lawyer who goes to court here, at the courthouse. The Public Service Commission, that's a very specific set of rules and it's all electronic, et cetera, et cetera. So it takes just somebody to help you logistically. I think if someone took the petition and I can show them where other petitions are from other, townships, I mean, I think they could, if you got someone really quick, I think they could get up to speed and at least get something, filed on this in some sort of timely fashion.
All right, no further questions, just kidding.
I'd like to thank Mr. Wellington for bringing that forward. He spent quite a bit of time on the phone with me, so thank you.
You're welcome.
so I think probably you might reach out to Jamie with Mr. Wellington if you could, and we'll just get our attorney's opinion on what she thinks. But moving forward, just get her take on it. Okay?
As far as the affidavits, are you in favor?
Yeah, and again, I think it's something
All right.
you ask her to, so affidavit. I have no issue to say, no, I didn't receive that.
And Charlie, what is the timeline for this?
Well, the hearing will be July 3rd that responds to the motion by our Beulah Township to get rid of this case because the county wasn't contacted. So that's just kind of the response. And this is matter of public record. I mean, the lawyer for Beulah Township said, hey, look, my wife's having a baby soon and, they had to kind of move around that schedule. And so maybe that could differ a little bit. But yeah, time's of the essence. It's July 5th, I believe is the date. You can go to the MPSC website. This is the case is, you can look it up. It's Birch Valley Solar and it's case number U22072. And so if you go on there, you'll see everything that's happened so far. Next week, there'll be a transcript so you can see what I actually said, and explaining to the judge that this wasn't, fair and that was incorrect. That transcript So then I basically, once that transcript comes out, that's when I'm able to appeal, because that's what's going to show what the judge's order was. But it'll also give you a sense for what happened in that hearing. So the lawyer should, when I talk to the lawyer, confer, I'll let the lawyer know that. Thank you.
Okay. We move on to number 4 on the new business. Medical care community funds transfer request. Mike Miller.
Yes, Commissioners, the medical care facility, sent us a request to move some funds. And those are there with, in your packet. You're so inclined to do so.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the request from Robert Rabideau, Chief Executive Officer, to transfer the following funds and authorize all necessary budget amendments. $8,195.66 from Medical Care Millage Fund 298-000-001-000 to General Fund 291-000-001-000 for a Traverse It 550 WC19 transport share. $65,280 from Medical Care Millage Fund 298-000-001-000 to General Fund 291-000-001-000 for a 2024 Braunability Pacifica rear entry resident transport van. Excuse me, $7,585.72 for Medical Care Millage Fund 298-000-001-000 to General Fund 291-000-001-000 for a web store steam table and guard. $80,138.04 from Medical Care Millage Fund 298-000-001-000 to General Fund 291-000-001-000 to Raymond LLC for professional services and materials related to network switches and wireless access point upgrades.
Support.
The move by Commissioner Cook, supported by Commissioner Barrios. To move to approve the request from Robert Rabideau, Chief Executive Officer, to transfer the following funds and authorize all necessary budget amendments. $8,195.66 the Medical Care Millage Fund 298-000-001-000 to General Fund 291-000-001-000 for a Traversa 550 WC19 transport care. $65,280 from Medical Care Millage Fund 298-000-001-000 to General Fund 291-000-001-000 for a 2024 Braun Ability Pacifica rear entry resident transport van. $7,585.72 from Medical Care Millage Fund 298-000-001-000 to General Fund 291-000-001-000 for a restaurant, store, steam table, and guard. $80,138.04 from Medical Care Millage Fund 298-000-001-000 to General Fund 291-000-001-000 to Raymond LLC for professional services, materials used related to network switches and wireless access point upgrades. Any more discussion on that motion? There, no, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion has passed. That takes us through the new business. Let's jump into old business. Discussion on possibly adding a part-time county grant writer, Commissioner Barrios.
Yeah, there have been a number of grants written, and I know Sheriff writes his own grants, and from Parks and Rec, myself and Mark Putnam have both written grants. I know Shelley desk grants too. And with as many people trying to write grants, and it's not only the writing of the grants, it's managing those grants after the fact. Mark is still working on the America 250 grant, the requirements. And there are certain things that you have to comply with and structures. And it would be, I think it would behoove us to look at hiring a part-time grant writer for the county. I believe that the funds that they bring in would offset the cost of, their position. So I'd like to have some discussion about that. Does anybody else feel that way, or is just me?
What was the work?
Well, the biggest thing is how you're gonna pay for it.
Well, this is
I'm
true.
all good about grants, and trust me, I love them, and the people, they do a great job that do write them, but, I know Saginaw County, they're all their own, head departments, they write their own grants, because they can't afford a grant writer. They can show me how you can afford it.
Well, I thought maybe Mike could pull some filters out of his file. No, honestly, it's difficult. You have the time that's spent writing a grant. Who else on the board here has written grants? Anybody else written a grant? Yeah, so what's involved. And I know what's involved because I've written, grants before, and the one that I just got done writing, just got done turning in the final paperwork and haven't heard back from them yet. But there's some requirements, and Mark brought that up just recently to me about some liability when you're writing grants. So, from us being individuals who are volunteers pretty much on the Parks and Rec group, trying to put together a plan, it would just seem like it would be beneficial to the county to be able to pay a person to be able to do that and bring grant money in. I know we brought in $10,000, to Parks and Rec from grants, and I know that the sheriff is writing grants, and Shelley's looking for different grants, all the time as well. But we can't bring those monies in with just volunteers spending all of their time, because it does take a great deal of time to do. So I just wanted to bring that up for discussion. If it's nobody else is in favor, well, I asked. That's all I can do.
Chairman,
Yes.
reminds me of the past Tom Young board commissioners. He was very much into grants, and this board along the same line. But cutting the chase, it's not something that we haven't discussed over the years. A number of years ago, we had a certified grant writer over in EDC for about a year, maybe a year and a half. They specifically wrote grants. But I'm going to just, in terms of the ability to pay, I would suggest that the board consider the EDC. We do fund them, and that is part of their responsibility as grant writing. Now, related to the staffing there, I know there's more than one there, other than the chair, Jim Tussey. But that might be an avenue. The grant administration fees, depending on how you talk to, they used to be very lucrative, and that's why the EDC was 18%, so whatever, 17, around 2-3%, depending on the grant. A lot of work, and then you have to administrate it. So I don't know. I would suggest, Chairman, you're on the EDC as well. You have the same history I do, related to approaching for grant writing, reevaluating grants.
Yeah, and like you said, again, Commissioner, this has been a topic that we've discussed for, many years. I mean, I've been on it 10 years. I know it's been brought up. at those times. But I think you're onto something there with the EDC is. Because we do fund them. And that may be something we need to take to those.
They have a part-time grant writer on staff.
I think they do. I mean, Alicia Proctor approached me. I wasn't there at the last meeting, but I don't talking about grants and for the county, and so it's sort of interesting the segue that we're here talking about it. So wouldn't be any surprise to her, but certainly, sure, it would be an avenue I'd like to explore.
Let's look into avenue, maybe see what kind of an avenue stream we can use when we know there's a grant we want to go after and how the process will work to get over to what we're looking for.
Chair. Commissioner Burrows, you're totally correct. I mean, if the right grant writer, they can more than pay for themselves. But I think it's a good idea because I know in the past, you can't tie the income or their income to a certain percentage or whatever. Because I mean, that'd be a perfect world. You know, you bring in 100,000, we'll give you X amount of percent. But so it's kind of a crapshoot, you know, getting a grant writer. But I think that's Commissioner Bradwell, a great idea if that part timer for DC could help us out. And then if we see it is successful, then it might be something down the road we could consider.
Fund it.
I think if I remember when Steve was here at the EDC, he said they cut that quite a bit for the administration on how much
It
they
was
get.
30% one time.
Yeah, now
Down to
it's
3.
Yeah, it's down 3 and 4%, but cut it significantly.
Commissioner, I wasn't sure if that was specific to the grant or just universal. I mean, I've never explored that part, but
I just remember Steve telling me that they cut the administration fee a lot.
Yeah, but that was you know, for distributing the funds, like when they got out of money for COVID, you know, they distribute funds to different businesses.
Mhm.
That's what they got paid for, and that's what they cut way down to. You know, we still expect you to do it, but instead of getting 30%,
Right.
you know, out of that 900, out of that 600,000 they received, they got like 90,000 just to distribute it.
Yeah.
You know, but they changed that like down to 3-4%. Crazy low. But yeah, I think let's explore that avenue, maybe to the EDC, and then the commissioner Cook said, keep an eye on something. We can always bring them down the road. Who was the? We found it.
sure, want to have another grant, which would be involving Ryan or anyone else, would be the I just attended the Michigan County's worker comp board meeting. There's grants that's out there that they provide for safety. They're just set there. And I listened to the grants that are being dispersed. I sat on that board. Tuscola County, it's been a while since we've applied. I know one of the factors of getting grants, you have to have safety meetings. And I know the last grant we had here, which has been some time ago, they requested a documentation of safety meetings within the county. And we had them at that point. I don't know what happened since then. But that might be an avenue to explore. I'll just name Shelley or myself in terms of applying for it, but they're not that difficult. And everything related to safety. So I'm always thinking about a lot of what we see is from the sheriff's department, from the courthouse, there's ergonomics, there's all kinds of things that they provide. But anyway, just a thought. A reminder. No further.
So Chairman, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Probably following up on that. We do safety training, correct? We do regular safety trainings.
Well, it just depends on, like, do you mean like staying up to date on CPR and?
Oops, sorry.
I'm sorry. I just know it's hard for our folks attending virtually to hear.
Or do you mean like in relation to CPR and first aid and things like that?
what all besides CPR and first aid, because those are usually annually, aren't they?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
Do you have other types of training that you have to perform, like
Sure.
holster safety or whatever?
Yeah, so, every year we have our, mandatory firearm qualification, but then there's also additional shoots throughout the year. So there's a couple times a year that we're doing firearm stuff. Same thing with the defensive tactics. Once a year, we go through the defensive tactics and things like that. So it's a repetitive thing, and all of that is
Documented.
yeah, and it's all for officer safety and quite honestly, the inmate control for the subject safety as well.
And when you document all of that, is that something that could comply with that
I
requirement?
think it could be part of it. I just Googled MCWCF safety grants. It's up to $5,000. You have to have the requirements. Applicants must have a workplace safety committee and provide minutes from their most recent meeting. They used to walk around the courthouse and other buildings, and that's what we used before. It's spelled out very well. It's through Comp One. You can get an application or a directive. The phone number's right there. It's under MCWCF loss prevention grants. So it could be, yes, it would be part of it, but definitely it's not one where you could just apply for a grant without some type of substantiation that you're conducting safety work. I mean, that's
Right.
Which I'll talk a little bit about
safety committee
later.
I'm aware of.
There is or is not.
Well,
There's not.
This building does, every quarter they have, I think it's a female safety concern. Courthouse has that.
Right, right, yeah. Right, but I'm saying my office doesn't have specifically a safety committee. Now, but if the
Couldn't
other,
you be on his?
if the other, because I try to attend the, security meetings and stuff here,
Well,
if those would qualify.
Steve was leading them, but Jordan's leading now, so essentially you are part.
Right, that's what I'm saying. If that would qualify with that, then yeah, there is.
Well, I think it would. I mean, it doesn't sound like we're totally obstinate. It doesn't have to be that you have to have your own separate. It's a county representing a county. So if you're participating when you can or whatever, I think that would be sufficient. And there is, I mean, the application link is right here. And you can go through it but I'm telling you, as a board member, that would be pretty beneficial depending on what would fit your needs, because it is just sitting out there and they want to reduce loss. And that's part of the reason why they have the application. So to answer your question, I think so. Hard.
Yep, because
That's evidence.
I'm used to OSHA, and having to go through all the safety and the quality standards and reporting and documenting and all that stuff. So
Yeah, and we have MDOC come in and inspect the jail and stuff to make sure that we're complying with their standards and things like that too.
but as long as you have some documented procedures that are
Mhm.
annually recorded, that should, and join his group, send somebody over to join his group. I think that seems like that would be qualification.
Jordan does.
She does lead it. Okay, all right.
And I'm thinking, Mike, right, I think Steve was the last, I can't remember what the grant was not, but might have applied at one time.
I'm not sure.
But there's not a plethora of grants that get applied for. That's why it's
Well, the undersheriff always gets the reimbursement grants for the police academy.
Hmm.
So we're not paying for those upfront out of our own pockets. So we do get those for every person that we've been putting through. That money's actually drying up. So we all were encouraged at the Sheriff's Association a few days ago to contact our representatives, because apparently they wanted to not fund that fully like they have been. So that's also on the agenda, but.
Bob's very good at getting the stuff through MMRMA too. He writes grants through for the MMRMA. He's very good at that.
Who'd you say?
Bob,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, he's very good at that. Undersheriff.
Thanks, sir.
But I had to put a plug in for Frankenmuth Credit Union because we've had pretty good luck in the townships. We just got one for $23,000 for Watertown Township for their fire gear. You have to fill out the paperwork and Melissa does a good job down there filling that out, and we just received that for the fire department down there. So we've got the jaws of life through them. Franklin gives back a lot, a whole lot. So,
There's resources out in the community.
right.
Yeah,
But you have to be a member, or that they encourage you to be a member,
right.
but they give back a lot of money.
Okay. Move on to number 2 on our old business. Discussion regarding county resolution belongs to the local municipality officials. That's Barrios.
I've been requested, I've been contacted, couple of individuals, who are in the municipalities that I oversee, have served a number of years, in one particular case, 30 or 40 years. And, I was asked about a resolution honoring them. One just recently received a state award, in another township. And I know that we have a tendency to want to recognize only, county, staff or unique situations, but, in my opinion, and I'm speaking on behalf of myself, if I have a township and they have had somebody serve on that township board for 30 years, and they asked me to recognize that person, I think that that is an honor that we, as a board of commissioners, should recognize. That says a lot about our township. It says a lot about our county. While they might not necessarily be a county employee, they are the county. And so, I'm not sure what the practice has been in the past. I was told that in the past, requests like this were honored. I don't know if that changed or if there'd been different direction. So I'm just asking because when I get asked, or I ask for somebody to be recognized, I just want to make sure that I'm on the same wavelength as everybody else.
I don't remember it being changed since I've been on the board, which ever honored, township, people on township boards or whatever. And again, they'd be recognized, they should be recognized by the township, I would think. First and foremost. But I'll also up to discussion of the board members.
Well, Chairman, I don't think there's been any written guidance on this. We've approached this problem in the past. Normally our, and this is open to board debate, our resolutions have been based on county employees, and of course significance. Now, I'm sure Clerk Fetting would have some insight at some point on previous resolutions and what areas they pertain to, because we do them not frequently, but infrequently. And normally the type of resolutions we do, it's not uncommon to see a state rep show up and do their own resolution, or a senator if we're lucky. So, but to my knowledge, Chairman, I don't think there's any written guidance. I think it was the pleasure of the board, depending on the situation, and probably the prerogative of board based on that. But that's open to debate. I mean, we've been around a while.
I think your details would need to be provided to the controller administrator's office. They're the ones that do the draft resolutions. I don't see that. I can't think of anything guidance that says that you can't. I do think it is at the pleasure of the board to recognize people that have served for a long time. I think from history, we struggle even recognizing our own county employees at times. In the past, we have, where people have retired and maybe wanted a resolution, but was never awarded one. So I think we struggle at doing that, and I think we could do a better job all the way around. But again, that would involve highly into the controller administrator's office because they're the ones knowing when people are exiting employment, that kind of thing. You are out in the field knowing when people would be retiring from township boards as well. I think it would be no different than when our state representatives come and recognize somebody locally. It's just an honor and a recognition that you're doing publicly for the service of that person. But I believe it would be at the pleasure of the board.
That's Luke. I don't have.
The only thing my feeling is, and I agree 100% with Commissioner Burrows and Clerk Fetting, but I think we have to be careful how many we give out, because then I think it takes away from the recognition of that. You know what I mean? I mean, if you do 5 of them, it means a lot. And I'm not saying the number 5 for this particular case, but if you give out 1,000 awards, it's like, okay, whatever. You know what I mean? And I don't.
It's watered down.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that somebody that served 40 years don't deserve that, but it's like, we just, in my opinion, we need to be careful.
But if they serve, I mean, for the township, will the township recognize them?
Township is, yes, the
I mean, that should be
township does
first and foremost.
recognize them.
If that happened, then it could be brought into the board for what you've done and moved on, but that should be first and foremost. It should be recognized by their.
Yes, I think the people that
You know.
requested them thought that because of the significance
Right.
and because of our positions in the county as representing those municipalities, that it would behoove us to recognize them for their service. And I agree. If somebody spent 20 or 30 years serving their township, to me, that's a significant accomplishment. And I think worthy of recognizing.
And maybe just a thought here too, like state representatives do, maybe if the township was recognizing a person, we could have a resolution where you was also there, represent the county, like the township comes in, like the state comes in here, you know what I'm saying? And do it if it's in the township, do it some of the.
And I would be happy to do that for my people,
I'm
the
just saying,
people.
it's a thought there, but something like that, but it'd be.
Yeah, sure. I go to the meetings anyway. Be happy to take one over. It's just a matter of getting one to be able to. take
But yeah,
it over.
Anything more on that?
So what did we agree upon there?
No. Like we always do. Your point is well taken. This needs to be more and my own concern is too, which I expressed to commissioners. I don't want to water down the resolutions. I want them to give people that need to be recognized. And in the county, we don't want to water them down. We want to make sure they mean something. If there's somebody in the township that's getting recognized by their township board, I think we can, as commissioners, can also be at that meeting with a resolution from the county through the ministry would, if they're right here, take it to that meeting and say, on behalf of the county of Tuscola Town, we'd like to show you our appreciation. I would be all for that.
The only benefit to having it here is that we sometimes get the newspaper here. And while you may or may not get that at a smaller meeting, but
Newspaper seems to be where I'm at.
I wonder why.
I mean, there ain't nobody there. I say,
It's been a long time.
That's a surprise.
That,
But any other thoughts? That's my thoughts. And I'll open up again one more time to the board. Any thoughts, or you want to bring them here? It's up to the board. Whatever you guys.
well, I think Commissioner Cook, I mean, it depends on the situation and circumstances, and I think the board's pleasure. I don't know anything about this particular one, but I do appreciate what you're saying, Sherman, is reaching out to the township when necessary. Pleasure of the board, basically.
Chairman, if you have, Commissioner Barrows, if you have some people that you feel, I want you to bring it to us. I guess. What do you think, Chairman?
Well, that's what, and I brought that up. That's what I was thinking. If there's somebody else in the township, whatever, hey, let's bring it to the meeting. We'll all like at it.
Yeah.
And we do it. We need to do something. We need to do
Sure,
something here
I'll be
in our
glad to.
boardroom
I'll be glad to.
for
I've
them.
got-
Then we
I've
do
got
as a board.
two right now.
Helps
You
to know.
Okay. That good?
Chairman, before you leave old business, is that your plan?
The old business.
I got a question.
I was leaving that far behind.
All right, I've got a question, the pleasure of the board, related to finance, but it goes back, and I just thought of it, and the question's been asked me over 3-4 times now. By pleasure of the board, I'll add it to the old business, which is, it relates to the ARPA funding of the projects. And I was just looking for that. I know it's here somewhere, of the projects, so I had this correct. All right, the question is, Chairman, I think it's Arbela Township. When we funded the sewer project, was it Arbela? I'm not sure.
I think that was, Denmark.
Oh, Denmark, that's right.
That's right.
It was Denmark.
Were those funds ever expended?
I do not know the answer to that right this second.
Well, the question was that have not been expended, and should they be returned back to the county? Because if they were
So Denmark has not used the money, is what you're saying.
right
Okay.
versus using it, you just forget about it and it's going to absorb. There's the question. Has it been utilized? And if not, it'd be up to the board to decide.
The last I knew, they still had the 300,000.
Okay.
That's the last I knew. Now, maybe it's changed, but last I knew, that's what it was. They still had it and they still had problems out there. Because I knew that because Tuscola Township we're trying to get a sewer project done on M15. And we didn't know if we was gonna go Denmark or go to Vassar. Well, we're gonna get the blessing of Vassar if we can come up with the funds. But last I knew, they still had their funds for that the previous board gave them on the ARPA funds.
So should there be, from a board's perspective, should be a time limit because it seems it's been a while.
But yeah.
Yeah, that was, when, that's when Grimshaw was here.
Yeah. So
Well, and that might be something for interim administrator Miller to look into because there are some filing deadlines. So if those funds were given under ARPA, there are filing deadlines and requirements that,
I do, those are being maintained. I
but if
don't know
they were
what-
under PGS money, then,
Right.
so
right.
we would want to look at that, and that might be a
That would-
question as to if you're able to pull them back, because they've been reported one way, and some of those deadlines, I believe, have passed.
Yeah, we'd have to look at that. see
Yeah.
what the-
There are ARPA funds, I'm sure.
I'm pretty sure there are.
Project doesn't go through.
Yeah, so I think that that's gonna, it might be a
That's a
more
good point.
complicated answer than,
Well, the point being, if you give funds out for a particular project, they should have been used on that project. I don't know about the timeline, no matter how it was reported. I think the Chairman's right, it's probably under ARPA, that the longevity, because sooner or later, based on board change, they'll be absorbed within Denmark. Perhaps
Wasn't that to fix their lagoon, I think, if I remember correctly?
Yes.
lining or something. like
Yeah,
that.
I think, yeah.
Okay.
I think more discussion or more
More to come.
research
We'd
probably.
have to look and see what.
Okay.
If the project didn't happen, what happens to funding?
Yeah.
Correct.
What's
And
going
how
on?
long do they have to complete the
There you
project
go.
before the next step has to?
Not to mention, we could use 300,000.
We don't have much of that. Okay. All right. Anything else under old business? I don't see nothing on the correspondence resolution. Let's move on to the commissioners liaison for me reports, and I'll pass right on over to the Barrios.
Okay, since our last meeting, I attended the Village of Fairgrove meeting. Um, Spent some time at Vanderbilt Park where we were installing the historical sign. If you get a chance to go down there and see it, it's really, really nice. I attended the Road Commission meeting last week, Octagon Bar and volunteer lunch. I attended the Village of Kingston meeting with the Kingston Historical Society. Being as I was born in Kingston, I was asked to join the Historical Society as a member. So I had a chance to sit in on a meeting at the Village of Kingston, and president of the village, Corey Skinner, was awarded an outstanding community service award for his 24 years on the Kingston Village Council. So I'm just reporting that because that was happening in that meeting. I attended the Elkland Township meeting and just would like to remind everybody that this coming Saturday is the Rough Fish Derby at Evergreen Park. July 3rd, we're going to be holding a 1-hour presentation, historical presentation at Vanderbilt Park from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock on July 3rd. If you can make it there, that would be great. That's again one of the requirements of that grant for America 250 is having a public event to kick off the sign. Mike Kleinsmith is working with DNR to get access to their system so that we can upload our Parks and Rec master plan. We've been having some difficulty with the passwords and transitions. So that's supposedly going to happen maybe today. July 8th is the Declaration of Independence celebration at the courthouse lawn. And chairman is going to be there to accept a flag to be flown over the courthouse. And July 8th, I will be putting together a kayak paddling session at Evergreen Park. So I will be going. That's it for me.
Mr. Barnwell.
Behavioral health, the state is, most recent, the state is still working on a second attempt to take over the services, behavioral health, and more to come on that. It's very complex and yet very simple. Like most cases at the highest level, it's to take away local control. So to sum that up. DDA met yesterday. They have a new DDA director and market manager. His name is Devin Pomeroy Rupert, as I recall. And his first market was last Saturday. And one of the attributes that he started right away, he went down to town and met all the business people, or he's working on that. That's how. So if you hear that name, he's definitely, you'll recognize him. He most likely will be in a suit. So very prestigious looking suit and presentation. So I think DDA and the market will have an advantage. The EDC, I don't think is meeting chairman until next month. I'm not sure. Mac 7th, I don't have an update. Mac Workers' Comp Board, I just want to give you where I was at last Thursday. It's an interesting board meeting typically, and it relates to workers' comp, and the board voted working towards opening it up to some townships. But here's what 25 summary is, and I really wish we had this with, is it Gibson, our health insurance? And I'll explain that. They administered 113 claims in 25, and that's across many counties. 13 indemnity claims, which is basically funding for future indemnity claim. 87 medical only, meaning some injury claim, and 13 report only claims, meaning there may be a claim, there may not. About the same as compared to previous quarters. In the year of 25, the total number of claims was 561. There's 69 indemnity, 403 medical only. These are worker comp injuries. And 89 report only claims, which typically it's just on file for a period of time in case something happened. But here's what I want to focus on. Manageability has been with Michigan County Workers' Compensation for a long time, but fourth quarter 25, here are the stats. 1,038 bills, that's worker comp claims, that totaled $781,585. So that was significant. After the reductions of 562,230, and that's through manageability, they go through each and every claim and go, they experienced enough to get the discounts. The fund only ended up paying 219,000 out of that 781, which was over 71, it's like 72% savings. Now, why can they do that? And I've mentioned this before. It's a difference of sharing the profit or not. All right. So with that, they also announced that their dividend this year will be, is being requested through the state, $250,000, $250,000 more. So it'll be $5,250,000. It's gone up every year, which goes back to the counties proportionately, which you get a check every year. Tim McGuire and Gordon Bowden were just in. I just talked to Shelley. They were in here last week. Yeah, last Friday, I believe. Thursday. Anyway, doing a visit. So think about that with your health insurance. If every bill, and of course, we've got what, $1,500 deductibles, or I forget now, but we got to rethink that at some point. But think about what you could do if you had somebody negotiating your medical bills. For instance, I know that I just saw one the other day, a $500 blood test. I just round up the numbers. That's what's being billed. It was $219. I mean, that gets billed too, but it's even less than that. It's just unbelievable. So over 25, they processed 4,669 bills that were totaled 4,590,000, which manageability took out 3,448,000 plus. And the fund only paid $1,148,000. And that's a savings of 75%. So that's where that dividend comes from that the county share. So pretty significant. There's not many other insurance companies that will give you a check. And I don't remember what was it, 70? What was it last year? Do you remember? You didn't receive it, but I brought it. So just something I wanted to share about workers' comp fund. I definitely think it's an advantage to the county. The MAC Finance Committee met last Friday. I'll be posting summary of the minutes of basically the platforms, which are very interesting. You want to take a brief of them at them, just like I'm sure when you attend, they brief them, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Good thing. We don't have another meeting till the fall from the platform.
They sent us a copy too, I think, an email, if I remember right. They
Yeah.
sent us the email, the whole thing.
But I don't think anybody got the finance meeting. I think it.
No,
Right? Yeah, I'll send it. And then the Rural Health Action Caucus did not meet their meeting. I forgot what state it is out west. In the past, when I was at NACO, I used to attend those, but no meeting because they're meeting out west. Nothing to report on the local unit of government. Back to you, Chairman.
Resolutions.
Monday night, attended the Millington Village. It was very exciting because they started on the urgent care here in Millington. I got a text yesterday from Serene Johnson's, which is the contractor there. They'll be pouring footings next week, so that's very exciting. So last night went to Watertown Township, went to their meeting, and me and Commissioner Cook will be in Lapeer tomorrow with MI Works. So, yeah.
Commissioner Cook.
Nothing to share.
Any other businesses necessary? Cover on the board. We started out public comment again. Everybody out there wants to address the board? I'll do it now. Public comment, if anybody wants to address the board. That's a record show by the clerk that extended public comment again was offered and we had no participants. With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Support.
So moved by Commissioner Lutz, supported by Commissioner Barrios. To adjourn the committee meeting this morning. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is been adjourned. Thanks, everyone. Call the statutory finance meeting to order.
Mr. Wellington, can I have you pause just for a second? We're starting our second meeting.
We're in the
Oh, I'm
meeting.
sorry.
If you can give us 3 more minutes.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Okay. I
okay.
apologize.
That's okay. Thank you so very
Call the
much.
meeting
So
to
sorry.
order. Roll call by, Madam Clerk, Fetty.
Thank you, Commissioners. Commissioner Barrios? Here. Commissioner Barba?
Here.
Commissioner Vaughn?
Here.
Commissioner Lutz?
Here.
Commissioner Cook?
Here.
You have a quorum. You may proceed.
Thank you. Action on previous meeting minutes.
Chair, I make a motion, action on the previous meeting minutes, statutory finance, May 28th, 2026.
Support.
So moved by Commissioner Cook, supported by Commissioner Lutz to approve the statutory finance, May 28th, 2026 minutes. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all fair say aye.
Aye.
Motion to pass. New business. Review and approval of the finance report and checks.
Chair, review and approve the finance reports and checks of 6/11/26, the finance docket.
I'll support it.
So moved by Commissioner Lutz, supported by Commissioner Cook to approve the finance document of 6/11/26. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion has been approved. Review and approval of the daily report and checks.
Chairman, I make a motion to review and approve of the daily report and checks 6/11/2026 daily document.
Support.
It's been moved by Commissioner Cook, supported by Commissioner Lutz to approve the daily report and checks of 6/11/26 daily docket. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion has passed. We have no per diems to report this morning. Nothing in the old business. Public comment. Does anybody want to public comment on the statutory finance part of the meeting this morning? Let the record show the public comment again was offered. We had no participants, and with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn the statutory finance.
So moved. Support.
That moved by Commissioner Cook, supported by Commissioner Lutz. Close the adjourn the statutory finance meeting this morning. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.